What's up, everyone? Blake here. Welcome back to another episode of the Raw Food Lifestyle Podcast. I have another amazing guest for you guys today. Today, I have Yasmin Gavrielov, and she is a yogi, a fruitarian, a healer, and many more things. We're going to get into her whole story in today's episode. I can't wait. But first and foremost, Yasmin, thank you so much for coming on the show. Welcome. And how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, I'm doing actually really, really good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing really, really good. And just so the audience knows, where are you located in?
Right now, I'm located in Israel. This is also where I was born. Yeah, maybe it'll change soon. I don't know.
Gotcha, gotcha. Cool. Because I saw on your Instagram you have like a really cool apartment with a cool view, and it seems like it has a really warm weather there. And so I know that's really good for a fruitarian, and we'll get into that as we go. But first and foremost, like what got you into the raw food lifestyle to begin with?
Actually, it was like an on and off. I didn't really know it's like a raw fruit diet. I wasn't really calling it this way. I was just like experimenting because my older brother, Um, he really like when he used to live in the US, so he used to call me and tell me like, "Hey, try to eat only fruits and vegetables." And I was like, "Okay." Then I tried, but I wasn't feeling satisfied because I didn't know how to do it. I was also eating like, steamed vegetables, and I didn't really understand like how to do it. So it was like an on and off and on and off. In South Africa, I had a period where I was really, really broke. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna eat fruit. I had passion fruit for like, I think 5 cents per unit, and it was like straight off the tree, so I was eating it. But again, I wasn't eating enough. I didn't know like how much I needed to eat. But I did practice like a lot of fasting. I was fasting quite a lot, which is not recommended if you don't eat enough. Like I felt fine, but I also started to struggle with, I was very, very stressed out. My sleep was off, and I had to like I went to smoke weed to just like go to bed. But then I there was a story, and I had to go back here to Israel. It was like 3.5 years ago, and yeah, then I before that I don't know, for the viewers, I think I talked about it in one of my videos where I was pregnant for a very short while, when I was in the South Africa. And then I was also like eating mostly fruit. And on the days where I ate, like vegan, like no fruit and a lot of vegan, let's say junk, because I had no other options since these were the cheaper options, then I started feeling like really, really bad. So you can really feel it on your body when you're, especially in a sensitive state, like when pregnancy and stuff like that, where everything really affects you. And it just brought like a lot of depression and heaviness, and it wasn't like really nice. So I came back here, and, I did whatever I had to do to take care of this. And I yeah, so then I decided to like my brother came to Israel, so he's like mostly living abroad. He's not here that much, and we started also doing like fasting. And then I decided, okay, you know what, I'll just try to eat only fruits and raw salads, so I was also incorporating like tahini a lot, like it was a lot. And you do whatever you need to do to keep you satisfied at first, to have like a nice, easier transition. And he also used to talk to me about like watermelon cleanses that he used to do when he was in India, and like eating only fruit. And I was like, then I watched Freely, and do you know Freely? Yeah, so I
Yeah, yeah, I love Freely. I love her. She's very passionate about what she does. So yeah, that's cool.
She is. So I looked at her and I saw Jillian Berry, other YouTube videos, and I saw like I also always wanted to be like really, really fit and like as body type, because my body type is like quite I would say like muscular, like it's not very thin, like not slender. So I always wanted to, be able to eat a lot because I come from a lot of eating restriction, like 1,200 calories a day. And I thought that was a lot. So I saw them like eating, and she was doing like a watermelon cleanse. And I was like, it was a few days after my birthday. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go and eat as much as watermelon as I want to. And then I did. And I ate like a lot. I think for me, it was a lot. It was like 6 kgs per day, coming from from 1,000 calorie per day to go like 1,800 calories. So in 5 days, I lost like 4 kilos, and I also got my period, but it wasn't painful at all. I had no bloating. I felt like my eyes were opening. And the first day, my brother was like, Yasi, like, you look so glowing. What are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I just ate watermelon the whole day. And I think like the thing that really convinced me is also the way that I felt, because I tried like raw till 4 before I started like only watermelon. So I tried raw till 4, and I also did my yoga practice. I was yoga teacher training. So I used to practice like twice a day, and I really felt the shift between like how I feel in the morning and how I feel when I eat only fruit to how I feel when I eat like cooked vegetables. When I say cooked, I mean like I put them in the oven, no oil, no salt, no nothing at all, just like squashes and stuff. And I felt so heavy afterwards. And I said, okay, my body doesn't want to cooked food anymore, and I'm just gonna go and just gonna do only raw food. And yeah, like I also used to have a lot of, menstrual problem. I used to get my period twice a month, which was really excruciating. It was really painful. I couldn't walk for like a few hours every day. It's like the cramps were unbelievably, like it was a complete suffering. And I was like, okay, this thing of eating only fruit is like completely made me feel nothing. I was like, okay, this is how I'm supposed to feel like. So yeah.
That's an incredible story, Yasi. Oh my goodness. So you took these ideas, you got a couple ideas from your brother, you got a couple ideas from Freely and from Jillian Berry's podcast, but you didn't just think about these ideas. You took them into practice and you applied this knowledge into your own life, and then you were able to feel the results. When you did your watermelon cleanse, you felt so much better. You lost 8 kilos, which is about 10 pounds.
Or
You lost 4 kilos. 4 kilos is 10 pounds. I was like doing the math in my head. And so that's just incredible. And so at the, as you were going throughout this process, you also mentioned that you were going into yoga teacher training. And that's just so cool. I'm also a yoga teacher. And that was another thing that drew me to your profile, which for everyone who wants to check out Yasi on Instagram, it's Raw Fruity Yogi. So that is just and we'll put all of her links in the show notes below as always. So go check out her page. But what drew you to becoming a yogi?
I was actually a personal trainer before, so I was a lot in the gym. I used to work out. I don't know if you know like astrology stuff, but like I'm an Aries, so I'm very, very like, hyperactive, as they call it. I'm just like extra energetic, but everyone has got I think everyone just needs more energy. Some other people may say the opposite. But for me, I have a lot of energy to take out. So I was always in the gym, always working out, always doing something to take my energy out. So yeah, I was there, and I had a friend back then. He wasn't like really into working out, but he told me, hey, you know what? Maybe you should try and go to like a yoga class. And I remember the first yoga class I ever went to. I saw like an 80 years old woman, and she's like standing, and her leg is like over here. And I'm like, what I want to do it, and I'm 80. I can't even do it now. Oh my goodness. And I was like, no, I have to start working on it. So he really recommended me to, start practicing it. And then I was like half with the gym and with the yoga. And then I decided, okay, maybe I should just like, I went to India, and when I came back, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do only yoga for now. I was working out a little bit, but it wasn't the same because I really wanted to just like calm down. And yeah, I did that, but it wasn't like really professional. I just went to like communal classes. And I I still like trained people, like the personal trainer, but I don't know, I was more attracted to the fact that I couldn't move my body the way I wanted to. I mean, I was strong, like I'm strong, I'm a strong woman, but it's like I couldn't do the things I wanted to do. And I'm like, I want to be flexible and I want to be able to do this and I want to be able to do that. And until, I can't do it, it's a challenge for me. And it also feels really good, like the breathing and laying down, just sit still, and you feel like the results like before and after the class. And I was like, okay, this is something that like I think would really fit. And when I came back from South Africa right after I got the pregnancy thing, it was also like in between, with the fruitarianism, and like it all started the same year. So yeah, so I was like, my mom told me, listen, you come back and I'm going to help you out. And going to, I know you like yoga, so maybe you can learn how to be a yoga teacher. And I was like, really? Can you help me with that? And she was like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to do it. And yeah, that's about the story.
That's an awesome story. And you said it was all kind of happening at the same time. How long ago was that?
It was well, right before I turned 30. So it was the end of 2021 when I came back here. And yeah, a few months after I started like the teacher training, like 3.5 months after. But I did go to yoga classes, like professional classes, not like communal ones. And I had like also a personal teacher, like she was my own teacher, a private teacher. Yeah, so I did all that. And I was also looking for a place to stay. So it was all kind of a mix of everything. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And during those years, like, is that also when you went to India? And was your trip to India yoga related, or what brought you there?
India.
Hmm.
Okay, so I had two trips to India. I had my first one way before I went, like way before I was thinking about, like the yoga is not what caused me to go there. I just felt like people talking about India, and I was like, okay, India looks so like challenging and it looks, but you know what? Maybe I should just, I had this attraction. I just wanted to go there. I can't explain why. It's just like in my head, okay, you know what? Just go there. Then same year, my grandfather died, and he left us all the grandkids with a certain amount of money. And I just used that money, and I went to India for like 3.5 months. Money right now came back here. Yeah, but
Nice.
it was the first time I traveled by myself. But it wasn't related to yoga, as I really couldn't find a place where I felt comfortable to do it, because most of the time it was like male teachers, and they were really too touchy, in my opinion. I was kind of, yeah, but so that was my first time. The second time I went last year, actually, in February, but it was only 2.5 weeks because I had to go back to work. And yeah, but yoga, I was actually recovering. Second time I was really sick in here. I didn't even know if I can catch the flight. So I was just chilling there and enjoying like the weather, because it was super cold in here. It was actually, I think, 4 degrees. And when I wasn't here, it was the coldest actually. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I skipped that. I was really lucky.
Cool. Yeah, I just asked because like as a fellow yogi, I know a lot of people go to India for yogi, but there's so many other cool things to see while you're there, and the food is amazing and everything like that. I'm sure, but it's so cool how your journey was evolving, kind of like many things at the same time, and that's how my journey was evolving too. So I can really resonate with that. And as somebody with a fitness background, and then you came into yoga at the same time that you were working on fruitarianism. Did you notice that there was a connection between your exercise and using your energy and using yoga to help relax, as well as combined with the diet? Did you find that it was important to maintain both?
For what? For the feeling, for the way I felt.
Yeah, for your overall health and well-being.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I was always big on movement way before. I always had a thing with food. I always wanted to feel better because I was really struggling when I was young. Ever since I was a child, I had like many problems, and I switched. So I always believe that if I also felt better when I was eating better, so for me movement is part of my life. I really struggle to understand people that don't work out at all. It's like giving you life. You just feel so much better afterwards. On days where I feel not my best and I go and I do like a practice that it's really really hard, or I just, like sweat and I put some effort on my muscles, I feel so much better. My mood is like extremely, like through the roof afterwards. And the food also, obviously, it's so important because food is giving you physical energy. And obviously, the better your body can handle it, the more energy you will be able to get from it. So if you're going to eat something that is heavy on your digestion, you're going to feel more tired. If you're going to eat something that's lighter on digestion, obviously, um, you're going to spend less energy on digestion, and your body's going to be able to use it quicker and more efficient. So if you like to move, I believe we all like to move. Just some people are really, really, they have a mindset of, my life is shit. So why do I need to move? I don't have, like I need motivation or something like that. But I really do believe that they just maybe work on the mindset and eat more fruit, you know, because it does help like the mood. I had a period of now for a month and a half where my appetite was really down, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I mean, it's nice sometimes, that you have less bloating and stuff because you don't eat as much, but the mood, I was just so tired all the time, and like working out, like I was maybe working out half of the amount that I do now. So I do believe it also eating enough carbs, sugars. It's like very, very important, as well as hydrating your body with your food and movement, sunshine. It all goes together. It's just the way we're meant to be. If we're going to our design, like we say, we're tropical creatures. So this is why we thrive in the tropics. I noticed 2 years ago when I was in Sri Lanka, I had like a very severe skin issue. That was in the beginning of my fruit journey. So I went there, and after like, I think 3 weeks, it was gone. And I was like, wow, my skin looked completely different. I remember when I came back here after like 4 months, then my skin also like got dry again. And, all this wasn't, yeah, so we're mostly meant, like to live in nature, enjoy the sun, eat fruit, sleep, move, exercise. Like we're meant to move because our food we're getting from, walking, climbing trees, or we are meant to move anyway. And I believe that we were moving regardless of just finding food. I think we've done other stuff too, and that also brought us like some kind of reward in our brain. Um, yeah. What do you think? Yeah, like I also saw that you used to train a lot also. Like I think I've seen something on Instagram a few years, I don't know, it was like 5 or 10 years, I don't remember. But I have seen like you used to work out a lot. Like I think you also work out right now, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, everything you just said, I mean, like that's verbatim how I feel too. Human beings were meant to move, and there is something hardwired within our body. Our body, if you just look at how our body is structured, we're structured to be upright and we're structured to be moving. And yeah, so I've always felt really good, when I was exercising. And this goes back like 23 plus years. I lost a lot of weight in high school, and then I kept that weight off for over 2 decades.
So wait, were you overweight?
I was overweight. Yeah. I weighed 300 pounds. I
No
don't know how
way.
many kilos that is. I'm sorry, but
Uh,
and then
it's
I
almost,
lost 100 pounds, which is like 40 kilos, I think.
yeah, around 40
And
kilos.
so yeah, and I kept it off for all that time, but then I felt like I needed to make a change with my diet, even though I was eating healthy. And, that's when the universe, I was putting that intention out there. And the answer that I got was to try the raw food diet. And the longer that I've been going on the raw food diet, the more that I tend to lean towards the fruits. And that's what I wanted to ask you next, because you had mentioned earlier in our talk about like zucchini. And, for the audience, like you guys know that zucchini is technically a fruit. It's just not a sweet fruit. But in my journey right now, although I love all the sweet fruits, I still find myself craving like some salads and some, with some sprouts and tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, zucchini. So like walk us through like a typical day of eating in the world of Yasi, and just let us know like what your style of eating and how that changes, and if you have salads, and like what's your take on like if a fruitarian still is allowed to call themselves a fruitarian, if they still eat like cilantro and some spinach and stuff like that. So let us know your take on all of that.
All right. So for me, at first, I didn't realize there was like such of importance for the definition whether I eat lettuce or not. So if I eat lettuce, I'm not fruitarian technically. Or if I drink coconuts, then coconut is not a fruit, so it's like I'm not fruitarian. So I now say that I'm raw, but I mostly eat fruit. I do, however, I do find myself sometimes when I crave something salty, if I don't have any avocados or like tomatoes. But usually I need like, when I crave something salty, it means that I need something like really, really dense, calorically dense, usually tropical fruit that has like a lot of calories, like durian, jackfruit, avocados, whatever, sapotes, all, like the good stuff. And if I don't have it, then I think the salts need to come from somewhere because your body still wants them. So also we do need some fats, I did notice that when I'm gonna say like fatty fruits is more optimal for, like the fatty part of the day, which is like, and because I have noticed a few times where I was only eating like fruit that was like really low fat in my diet. It was like less than, I think it was around like 7% fat of my entire calorie intake when I was on 2100 calories, something like that. And I noticed that sometimes I had like really strong cravings to eat something with salt, salad with salt, or raw vegan something, like raw vegan gourmet. And I was like, okay, I don't really feel so nice after eating this gourmet foods because they also put salt in it. Sometimes they put oil, and like you don't really know what's in there. So I just said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna eat an avocado, and obviously ripe avocado, and not just like compromise because that will cause some problems. So good quality avocado. If you don't have that, go to Asian stores, maybe find yourself some durian. It's like a bit heavier when it's not fresh, like in Asia or wherever it grows, But I think it's still a better option than eating oils and a lot of nuts, and like, because nuts also have mold. It depends. Like if you pick them from your garden and it's completely fresh, then that's a different story. But most of us, I believe most of us don't do that simply because we live in, cities. And I think that's probably one of the main reasons. So we're very, very busy with our lives trying to, you know, focus on career and other stuff. Yeah. So I do believe that if you find like you're lacking balance and you want to like, for me, it worked with the cravings. In the beginning, I used to like crave potatoes, and I know that when I crave something that is like very, very dense, meaning either I didn't sleep very well, like I need to go to sleep, or I just need to eat like avocado or salad, something to um just have like a lot of minerals concentration if the fruits, the exotic fruits are not available. So I think we need to be very flexible in terms of where we live and doing the best that we can and not trying to be perfect all the time. Even though perfect might feel good, it could feel good, but it could only happen once you have your own land and once you grow your own and you can go and pick whatever you want up and you have enough variety and you have enough of. I also believe in variety. I believe that the body needs different things from different fruits, different leafy greens, vegetables, whatever. So I'm not into being perfect. I'm just saying do the effort and do your best, whatever keeps you feeling the best that you can afford yourself to feel right now, then do this. And if you want to like go towards like a better feeling and you want towards into like more the perfect fruitarian, I don't see myself giving up drinking coconuts, to be honest. Like I love them. They keep me satisfied sometimes where I just need something to like balance my sometimes I get tired and they do have electrolytes. I'm not talking about the bottled one, I'm talking like the actual coconuts. So I just go and I buy one and I feel so much better. And then like I can eat normally again. I can eat my fruit and I don't feel so tired. And it just feels like it balances something. So for me, I believe that if you feel like something's working for you, then you do that. If you feel like it's not working, I had a raw vegan challenge that I was running for 30 days and people like, oh, can we eat this? And I was like, listen, as long as you don't cook it, you can eat whatever, vegetable, fruit, nuts, whatever you want, but you also need to make sure that you're eating enough so you're not going to be constipated, you're not going to be tired, because your body needs a lot of energy also, especially when it comes from raw food because it uses the energy so fast. It's just, yeah. So that's my take on it. And yeah, I believe that we shouldn't be so, I would say we shouldn't be so anal about this. All right. I had to say it.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm the same as you, Yasi. I just say that I'm plant based or I'm high raw. I do experiment with, like, with some steamed squash, um, some steamed vegetables from time to time. But the more that I progress along my journey, the more that like you said, that kind of feels heavy in my stomach. And I just feel this calling to keep progressing more towards the raw and, the fruitarianism as much as possible. And I'll have salt cravings as well. And I think that's why I like my salads to kind of balance out the sweet flavor
Mhm.
of the fruits. And I just try to be mindful with how much salt that I put on my salads. I'm not perfect all the time. And the next day, if I had too much salt, I'll definitely feel it, kind of like a food hangover a little bit. And then you kind of learn your lesson. The universe kind of smacks you up a little bit and says, all right, well, maybe tomorrow just have fruits or have some juice or have some coconut water, and then let your body balance itself back out again. And
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on something that you said, because you said something really profound, that in the beginning you were craving potatoes a little bit more and you're having different cravings. And there's a really cool post on your Instagram page that talks about, like, are your cravings actually parasites? And so I wanted to see if you had a take on that, because I hear this a lot in this community. It's really refreshing to talk to you, because you're kind of like no nonsense. You're a personal trainer, you're a yoga instructor, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of the same way. And I hear a lot of people in this community kind of say, like, "Oh, I'm just going to listen to my body and I'm just going to, da da da." And that's fine. That's fine. But sometimes when you're listening to your body, you might actually be listening to parasites. And maybe you do need to fast a little bit longer, or maybe you do need to, eat a little bit more strict on your diet. So, yeah, what's your take on parasites and that messing with your brain and your cravings?
Yeah. So, okay. Um, I never really thought that, in my opinion, I never really seen anything coming out of me. I don't know, like nothing weird, was just like mucus and like poop, like everyone does. So nothing like in specific. I think also maybe it was because I was going, I had like a long journey until I got to like eating raw. So I had a few years before when I was vegan, I was like really healthy vegan. I was like fasting a lot. And then before I was vegetarian, for like I haven't eaten meat ever since I was 15. So it brings me to almost 19 years. Yeah. And even when I was eating meat, I was kind of, I wasn't really attracted to the meat. I was more attracted to the potatoes, the rice, the fruit, the salads, all the, nicer things, nicer, um, but less harmful things. I was also being on cheese, but we all know that's addictive because of the hormones there. I don't remember, but there's a compound there. It's like breast milk from your mom. So you're getting like, there's kind of attachment in your brain happening.
Is it
So,
oxytocin?
no, no, no. Oh, you mean the hormone that your
Yeah,
body, I don't, I'm not sure. I don't want to just say, I'm not sure.
sure either. But cheese is very addictive.
So yeah, so about the parasites, I personally don't think they exist if you're eating mostly fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, or even cooked rice or whatever. Because usually those parasites, if they come from your food and they come from animal food, which is like what they're trying to like compost it, right? You got a dead body part, and when you're dead, then your body starts eating you from the inside. So in this term, like the body has parasites, and the parasites are your bacteria, your fungus, your everything. Your microbiome is also like a parasite. We all have those things, right? The thing is that we have a specific microbiome of what your body is used to. So if your body right now wants like you to give it a really big amount of sugar, right? And it doesn't want it from fruit because it doesn't want all the volume, but it still wants all the calories. It still wants like a big amount of, carbs, for an example. So it will send you to the potato, to the rice, to the pasta. You will crave those things because your body still needs them. It needs those sugars, but in less optimal form, because this is the memory that your body has, and it will send you there if you're not going to give it like the food on time, if you're not going to sleep enough, you're not going to be in the sun, all the components we've been talking about. So your body is out of balance sometimes, and it will require more energy. I noticed that when I'm not sleeping, I was doing babysitter, and it's a toddler. She was like 5 months, 6 months, and she wasn't really sleeping when I wanted to sleep. I started really early in the morning, and it was like 8 hours, 9 hours. And somewhere in between, I always brought my fruit. I carried like kilos of fruit on my back. And I said, okay, now I'm going to eat this and this. But then I saw a potato and I was so tired. My body didn't want to like handle a lot of volume. So I realized that if I'm not going to sleep right now, I'm probably going to eat this potato, even though I don't really want to eat it and it doesn't really make me feel my best. So I think it's just your body trying to get energy from somewhere, because it remembers the source that we used to eat before, right? So now, for an example, I hear a lot of people. I had, you did mention like the grape plants that I've done. So when I've done this, I felt amazing. I didn't have any cravings at all. But the first bite I took from another fruit, I couldn't stop. Like I just wanted to eat everything around me. The next week, I was working in a health store, so I had all these vegan products around me. So the next week, I found myself just eating a whole week in a row, just like this nasty vegan cheese. And I was like, what's up? And I realized also sometimes calorie restriction for like a very, very long time. So we do need to like be aware of that after cleanses we are going to get cravings. Mostly it's just about your body just needs more energy or something that is not getting enough of. If you're talking about we're not eating avocados, for example, I also had a video talking about avocados being addictive, and now today I just know that was a really dumb thing to do, like to say. Yeah, because I didn't really realize why I was so attracted to avocado, because it didn't make me feel as good at eating melons, but it did satisfy something that my body needed. And now I also know that when I do eat like fats enough, like, like once a day, when I do get like a fat from fruit, and I do like see my period is getting, I have less cramps. I don't feel pain at all. I am tired, but I don't feel like pain. I can work out the next day and I can walk outside as much as I want without having to go to the bathroom every 2 minutes. So I do feel like it's more balancing. And like today, I know what I know. So I also talk to a lot of people to understand why I have those cravings. I had someone reaching out to me on Instagram, which I'm so grateful for. And I was working with a girl that also wanted to be fruitarian, but she was 15 and she had eating disorder. She was anorexic and she used to talk to me, and I told her, listen, maybe you shouldn't eat only fruit. Maybe you need to gain some weight. You're out of rehab right now. You need to eat like a lot of calories, just smash avocados. You need like a lot of dense fruits. If you do want to eat fruits, and eat a lot of dense fruits, you won't lose more weight. And maybe eat some cooked carbs, because and then I realized like you can't be anal about something because it really depends on someone's situation, on the past that you've been through, with your diet and with your health condition. And everyone reacts differently because we've been doing things differently for decades. It's not because our body is not thriving on fruit. It's because we are adjusted to something else. It has different things that we've been through, and we need to be more easy on ourselves and on our body and give it what it needs in order to heal. And if, for an example, I feel that I know that if I'm going to stay right where I am in Israel, I might not be able to stay raw, because the diversity is not enough. It's like, and it feels like there's something missing, especially winter. Winter is really hard. So summer is great. Fall is, the beginning is fine. Like you still have mangoes, grapes, figs. The figs are amazing. So we still have all that. But when winter comes, you're like oranges, it's like it's not satisfying. It's at the beginning you can deal with it, but the more time goes by, your body will need something more substantial, something that holds more nutritional value inside, right? So for me, I cannot, when I used to be on watermelon was the first time I was on raw. So I could do that because I was coming from cooked, right? So I still had some substance in my body I could work with. But after all this fasting, after all the cleanses, after I was also doing juice cleansing, and I was the grape cleanse and the watermelon, it was all just, and all the fasting that I've done, like every 2 weeks, I've done a dry fasting of over 24 hours. For the full moon, new moon, it wasn't really about dietary stuff. It was like for spiritual reasons. But now I know that it also was maybe not the best for me because my body was already stressed out for all the calorie restriction that I've had for like a decade before. So I do believe that parasites, right? This is what we were talking about because I already went like really, really far. Just your body's way of saying like you're craving something that your body is missing. If your body's not gonna get enough sleep, it's not gonna get enough sodium from your food, you're not going to get enough sugars, you're not going to get enough fats, enough liquids, all comes down to minerals, vitamins. Your body still needs something from that thing, right? Your body knows better than you do because you can say like, use chronometer and stuff like that to just be kind of guessing and understand, but I believe that also your body is going to take you somewhere, and you need to know what your body's asking for you and try to make if there's a better alternative that you can give it instead of. I'm craving like this month and a half where I didn't really have appetite. I was smelling like they made schnitzel, schnitzel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm living like my entire family eats everything. And they made schnitzel, and it smelled so good to me because my body was really missing out on calories, like it just wanted everything, but it didn't want the volume. I couldn't handle volume. So I smelled it and I said, okay, this is not okay. It's like I knew that my body just really wants me to eat, but I couldn't. Maybe it was an emotional block. I don't really know what was happening there. So I I just went to my room and I said, you know what? Tomorrow you're gonna get durian. And I just went and I got durian, and well, then my appetite started opening up. So I was really happy about that. But just making like more conscious choices, and if you don't have the option to do this, then maybe you can eat the carbs and it's like fine. You know, you need to do whatever, as I said before, you need to do whatever is best for you. Eventually, when we crave something, most of the time, if you're not going to satisfy the reason for the craving, right, then we're going to keep on craving it until we're going to eat nonstop of it. Like when I was limiting avocados, and I hear it a lot from my raw vegan friends, that they were limiting their fats. Like I'm not going to eat like avocados. They were doing it for a week and then they're like eating 6, 7 avocados and then they feel like crap. So I'm just saying, like, finding balance is what's going to stop the cravings, and also understanding exactly what your body needs. Trying to see how you slept the day, how you feel. Did you work out? Did you have enough? Did you breathe? Did you stretch? Did you have a hug, good laugh? Did you do something good for yourself? And did you eat enough? Like, did you eat enough? It's also very important.
Wow. That that was beautiful. So I'm definitely going to watch that segment back. That's so true about listening to your body, but being honest with yourself at the same time,
Yeah.
and having that balance where, okay, I might be smelling something really good, whether it's schnitzel or Mexican food or something like that, but I know that from my past experience, if I go and eat that stuff, I'm going to feel terrible and it's going to move me farther away from my goals in the direction that I'm going in my life. So instead, let's find a happy medium. Let's get some durian, or, if you thought that it was what you were supposed to do this, 80-10-10 sort of style with super low fat, but you're not feeling good, then yeah, maybe go have some durian or have some avocado, but at the same time, maybe still be mindful that if you start to eat a bunch of nuts, they're addictive. You can eat the whole bag really
Yeah.
quickly and they might have mold and they might not be that great for you after all. So I think that that's really, really wise advice that you just gave us. But I know there are some people who can't do that or who choose not to do that. And
But
then,
can't do what?
well, they're on the raw diet, but they're not listening to their body. They're not able to achieve a balance. So then they just go the opposite way and they're not raw anymore. And they start to blame the raw food diet, saying, that's terrible. I was malnourished, da 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 da. And you have an awesome video on YouTube about this, because you'll see that there are people who have been raw for 5, 10, 15, a lot of time, and then they just all of a sudden quit and they make a video like, oh, the raw diet is terrible, never do it. And it's like, you weren't listening to your body and having balance. But I think we're on the same page about that. But I just want to hear from you, Yasi. Like, what's your take on when that happens?
What? When people go back to what is my opinion,
Yeah.
like how it makes me feel?
Yeah, and that video that you made.
Yes, obviously. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I didn't have any meat for almost 19 years. So I I came to the realization by myself, by the way, that I'm eating animals, and then I said to myself, okay, I don't want to do this. It made me feel like so sad that nobody told me so far that this is what I'm eating, because nobody told me, and I was like, why did no one tell me? I have the right to know what I'm putting in my body. So, and I was so sad, and I decided I'm not going to do this anymore because I don't want to go and kill the animal to eat it. I can do this, and I surely don't want to pay someone else to do it for me, and And it all came from just understanding that I'm eating dead animals. And obviously, those animals are not dying naturally and getting to my plate, you know? And even if they did, it's kind of gross, you know? Like, I saw my mom with the whole chicken, and she put her hand inside of his butt, and I'm like, that's nasty. You know, I was looking at her, I don't know how you do it, but shit. You know, so I remember this as a child. And for me, when I see people eating animals, I feel like a lot of pain because I don't know if you've watched any, you know, like when they put like hidden cameras inside of solar houses. Yeah, so I already know the process that it's, you know, how it gets to my plate. And whenever I see that, that animal part, and when my family sits by the table and I need to like sit there sometimes. So it's really, really hard for me because I see the animal, you know, and I hear the way they scream, and so for me, when people go and they completely ditch the veganism, you know, you can stop being raw but still be vegan, you know. For me, that's fine as long, you know, if you felt like you needed something more dense because you weren't eating enough or you weren't getting enough of what you need, go for it. But you know, hurting the animals and saying like, I need to eat that animal's body part and I need to pay someone to use them and treat them like, you know, like they're money machines, you know, and killing like chicken babies and all that. I like, for me, that's very painful. You know, because I'm honest with myself. And when I talk to other people, I have friends that eat meat. You know, my entire family, none of them is vegan. I think maybe I have one cousin that is, but I haven't spoken to him in a while, so I'm not completely sure where he stands right now. So, but everyone else is just, you know, eating animals. And for me, that's like the most painful thing to watch and witness because I know my mom used to tell me before when she was a child where they lived in the mountains in Russia. So back then it was like, okay, you raise the animal and then you kill it, you know? So, you know, it's not like a massive, it's like more, it makes more sense, you know? It makes more sense because you see the process, you were growing the animal, you know, so it's kind of more natural, kind of. But I remember, like, she told me when she used to witness how they kill the animal, she used to turn around and start crying, you know? So but she still eats that. So there's like a big disconnection between how people want to feel like connected to other people because this is what other people eat, and to just like say, take responsibility for what is going on and say, I'm putting my money on it. I put it inside of my body. I'm paying for someone else to cause their suffering. And I want this world to be better. I don't know, like how can we? It's not like you're in survival mode. We live in stays as a state of abundance. We have too much. I think we have too much, you know, but we can get everything we want. We can get any fruit, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, literally everything without hurting any other animals. So for me, when a raw vegan goes back to eating animals, like the complete opposite, it's just like you probably you did it wrong. Like you've seen the video where they talk about how many fastings and cleansing and eating more greens, but they don't put enough calories inside of the body. And instead of just eating more calories, they're just like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna, you know what, I'm just gonna eat raw liver and raw shit, you know, like it doesn't add up, you know. And yeah, for me it's like a really big shame, and shame for the animals because they're like completely innocent in this story. So yeah, my take is like just very, very sad. And I think that this is why a lot of people need to get out of the too much cleansing. Like, I need to cleanse, but they forget that their body also need different things. It needs like more. It's not for no reason that you sit at the table and then you smell something and it smells good to you, even if you're against like what it represents. So I think that we also need to pay attention that we're not overdoing the cleansing. We can, it's nice to have it every few times, maybe, I don't know, but doing like prolonged water fasting, like I think it could be beneficial, but then you will have the cravings for cooked foods. You will go back to this. Maybe you will go back to eating. So everyone I've experienced, breatharians, have heard about breatharians, that secretly smoke some like a lot of weed, and then they go and drink some alcohol, and then they go and eat some burgers. But as long as they don't eat for a few days, so they are allowed to go and eat like burger. So why don't you just eat like every day? Just eat something that is good for you, and like stop your nonsense. I don't know. This is just I've seen no breatharian alive. I haven't met one that I've heard that he's like not eating, not drinking. I think that's like so irresponsible, and it creates a lot of eating disorders with people. And I've heard about I've heard of a few people that died from it. So I understand that your body is a physical thing with the spirit inside. So you need to balance both, obviously, but you're not just spiritual, you're not just physical, but you need to nurture both, you know? And the more you're going to, not give your body the physical needs, then the more you're going to not care about what you put in your body because you're just going to be too hungry to think. Like it happened to me before when I was just like, I was working, I didn't, obviously, I thought about the animals and I just didn't. But like at some point, I was like, okay, maybe I don't care. But I care too much, so I do have some sense. But for some people, they might be too hungry and they might just go back to eating animals because they're just hungry, and they just want to eat. Like I do understand. I'm not shaming them. I'm just saying that they were doing something that their body didn't like. So their brain sent them back to something that is less moral, but more heavy, more dense, even if it's not good for them, or for the animals per se. So I do believe that you need to be conscious that you're not like starving yourself or, just to be clean all the time. You do need to eat. We do have a lot of variety of plant foods, and we can just use that. It's like we're not missing anything today. We have like really too much, too much of everything, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely do, Yasi. And that, again, like, I love where your head's at. And I agree with basically, everything that you just said there, because, when people are cleaning their body and doing fasting and doing juice cleanses, I think that that's great. I think that they should. And I've done that myself, and I've experienced stuff come out of my body that was just, who knows how long it was stuck in there. And it was very disgusting. And then it's very eye opening to realize that all those animal products you were eating or all that junk food you were eating, it's not meant for human consumption. It's a foreign substance that your body's not designed to process. So it tends to get stuck in there. But there's a certain point to where you can overdo the cleansing.
Yeah.
Then the more, and even not even talking about the diet or the veganism. When I was a personal trainer, I saw very, very clearly through all my clients that whenever you are too restrictive on something, you're at risk of bouncing back, and it's even worse when you relapse. And so what I've found in my own life is the same as you, and that's why it's so cool to talk to you, because I'm a personal trainer, yoga instructor. I'm kind of retired from that, but I still work out all the time, probably too much. And so I'm working on that balance with myself. But I didn't think in the beginning that I was eating enough calories, just like you said.
Mhm.
And so I was like, what do I do with this? And my body was getting pretty light, and I was doing a lot of fasting and stuff, and maybe wasn't feeling the best, but I was just using my willpower to get through that. But then I started incorporating sprouts
Okay.
into my salads, and that made me feel so much better.
Really?
Um, this like that made me feel so much better. It made me feel full, and like I had enough calories, enough density.
What
Um,
kind of sprouts?
Well, I use mung bean sprouts, I use green lentil sprouts, and lentil sprouts, or excuse me, alfalfa sprouts. Those are my top three. And so I've noticed that I have less cravings for like cooked food, or when I'm, walking through the city and I smell all these smells, it doesn't trigger me as much. But, to your point, people do have those bounce back relapses or whatever, and it makes them feel temporarily better, and so they just think, hey, this is for me. The other lifestyle was not for me, and nobody should do it. It's too restrictive. Well, it's just that either they weren't eating enough, or they weren't finding that balance like you've been talking about. Yeah, just listen to a coach like Yasi, listen to me, follow our content. And we've been through all these struggles, and we put our lives out on the internet to try to help people so you can stay on this path. Because what I've noticed is, being plant-based and not eating animals, there's so many rewards to that. You feel better, your energy is better. I think there is some sort of karma that goes along with it. You know, insects and snakes and birds and dogs are just, they come up to you, and it's just crazy. You feel better, you feel more happy, more light,
Yeah.
because you're not contributing to that death culture of eating animals. So, but yeah, so we have you at Raw Fruity Yogi, and I'm going to put that in the links below. How can they reach out if they want to work with you?
So they can go on, obviously, my Instagram, Facebook. They can just write a message, DM, and yeah, I'll just talk to them, talk that.
Okay, beautiful. All right. Well, Yasi, thank you so much. That was amazing. And I'll definitely be in touch with you online. It's really cool to meet another, yoga instructor, personal trainer who's also on their raw plant-based journey. And we have so much in common. So hopefully we can make some more content again soon.
Yeah.
And all all you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this one. And until next time, we will talk soon. Peace.